Yo, what's up? It's your boy VR, and today we're finally doing it. The Play for Dream MR versus the Samsung Galaxy XR. So both of these headsets are really similar, and this was very tough picking between them. A lot of y'all have been asking for this, so we're gonna do it. Before we jump in though, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We're close to 20,000 subs, and by close, I mean nowhere near. But we have to manifest it. Every single one of you guys help, but with that being said, let's get into it. All right, so specs. This is gonna be really quick because these headsets have a ridiculous amount of similarities. Both of these bad boys are rocking micro OLED displays, both 3552 by 3840 per eye. Now, people say that's 8K resolution, but it's not actually 8K resolution, but it is very high resolution. And yes, guys, I finally got that right because I mean, people in the comments, well, actually, you know, I got it. Be good now. These headsets also both use pancake lenses, which your boy loves, and the Samsung XR in terms of FOV is listed at 109 degrees horizontal and 100 degrees vertical, which is great. But I personally measure 106 degrees vertical and 100 degrees horizontal. And it's kind of funny because if they made this front pad for this headset smaller, they literally could have squeezed some more FOV out of it. So very strange design decision there, Samsung. Now the Play for Dream MR states 103 degrees FOV, but personally I measured 90 degrees vertical and 110 horizontal on both. So definitely more of a flat FOV for that. Now in terms of operating system, both of these headsets run a full Android OS on a Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2 chip. And just a quick aside, I am loving these new operating systems for these VR headsets. I was tired of Horizon OS, man. I'm sick of it. I want something new. I want something Android based. And I'm just glad we're finally getting it after all this time. Both of these headsets also have automatic IPD adjustment. Play for Dream MR going from 51 millimeters, 78 millimeters, and the Samsung XR going from 54 to 70. So Play for Dream definitely wins on range there. Both of these headsets have eye tracking, hand tracking, color pass-through, but the Samsung XR also includes face tracking, which is actually pretty sick. Both of these headsets have batteries, but the Galaxy XR's is external, and the device can't be used without it being plugged up to said battery. Meanwhile, the Play for Dream MR battery is built into the head strap. Now, for most of the specs that you guys are going to care about outside of like sensors and stuff like that, both of these headsets to me are really equally yoked in terms of what they offer for specs. So with all that being said, I'm calling it a draw. Build quality is also really interesting because both of these headsets feel premium, but in completely different ways. The Play for Dream MR has this Apple Vision Pro-esque kind of high-end, you know, tech bro vibe. And it's funny because the headset has literally been called the Chinese Apple Vision Pro by many Redditor and reviewer, and you can see why. The materials that make the headset are solid, the MR dial on top is pretty nice, and everything else just feels expensive. And honestly, it's the same with the Samsung Galaxy XR. Now, Samsung's been doing premium hardware for years, and you obviously can tell. Everything is refined, polished, dialed in. There is no qualms from me about the design of the headset. I think it looks pretty cool. Now, this headset does remind me of more of a Quest Pro than an Apple Vision Pro, and I love the Quest Pro's design. And before you ask in the comments, yes, it's crazy to me that Meta hasn't made another Quest Pro. Now, both of these headsets have the infamous all-in-one head strap that doesn't hinge. Now, this is a strange design, obviously on both sides, but especially with the Samsung XR, because you literally have just plastic after a certain point on the head strap where you literally can make a hingeable strap. I get why companies choose this route to make the headset not feel front heavy like the Apple Vision Pro, but it really kills all hope of fully customizing the head strap. But we'll get into more of that though in the comfort section. I can't pick a winner here, honestly, because I think both of these headsets are just equally yoked in terms of build quality. So I'm gonna give them that another draw. All right, let's talk money. The Galaxy XR is $1799 for the 256 gigabyte model, but wait, that's without controllers. And who wants a VR headset with no controllers? Not most people. Adding controllers costs a whopping $249. Adding all that up ends up to being $2,048. Meanwhile, the Play for Dream MR is $1999 and it includes controllers in the box. Way less hassles, slightly cheaper overall, and no back order for months on VR controllers. Now, I know the with controller price is very similar, but I think it's just the audacity to sell a headset without controllers readily being available in a box to me. That's gonna make me give Play for Dream MR the win here. I literally don't get my controllers until January. I had to borrow these. Shout out to Marvel. Thank you, Marvel. I had to borrow these from somebody else to do this comparison video. Yeah, I don't know, Samsung. Flavor Dream definitely beat y'all on that one. And let me say this before you guys say it in the comments. I do understand that they want to, this isn't a PCVR or gaming device. I get it. But most people who are buying these type of headsets are gonna want some dang controllers. Even Apple did that without having their own controllers. I just don't get the thought process, but whatever. So for return policy, it's interesting because this situation has totally flipped for the Flavor Dream MR. They finally have a refund policy through the Singapore store. So what that means, children, that you can actually try the headset out and return it if it doesn't work out for you. Now there is a restocking fee. I think that's a couple $100. So it's like, ouch, but you're not out of 2,000. So even having like a $1,500 or $1,700 safety net is pretty huge. And that's a massive improvement over their old no refunds ever policy outside of, you know, the headset being broken or something like that with a Chinese store. Now on the Samsung side, they give you 15 days to return the headset, which is definitely standard and should be standard for all VR headsets. There might be some restocking fees, but I have not seen anything confirmed on their site. But on the subreddit, I've heard people say that they were charged X amount to return the headset. So both headsets definitely pass here in terms of having good refund policies. So I'm gonna call it a tie here also. All right, so now we're to the most debated part of this video outside of ecosystem, and that is display and lenses. So both of these headsets are rocking micro OLED panels, but the implementation here and the software makes all the difference. The high resolution displays of both of these headsets is absolutely gorgeous. The blacks are perfect on both, the contrast is great, but this is where the Flavor Dream MR pulls ahead. Their software color calibration is next level. Like with everything being tuned in the settings, the colors just pop in a way that the Samsung XR can't really match right now with the base option. The Flavor Dream MR also definitely has better binocular overlap, which makes everything feel more natural and cohesive when your eyes are working together. Now this could be a me thing because I have a higher IPD of 72mm that the Galaxy XR doesn't hit, but I have seen other people who try the headset say the same thing. I don't know why they didn't go a little bit higher with the IPD just to cover, you know, the wide-eyed brothers, but it's just a weird situation. Don't get me wrong though, the Galaxy XR looks infinitely better than any LCD headset I've used, but side by side with the Flavor Dream MR in terms of colors, it just pales in comparison, sadly. And it's crazy because the headset still looks great. But if I would have never tried Flavor Dream MR, I would think it looks amazing. But obviously I've had other micro OLED headsets, so I kind of know, you know, what's good. The good news though is that it can be definitely fixed with some software updates. Samsung just needs to dial in on a color calibration and give us a few more options. Now let's talk about the downside of both of these headsets, which is glare. Now both of these headsets have it, and I've been meaning to say this in a video for like a while now. But every micro OLED headset I put up to my face has had glare, especially with pancake lenses, the big screen beyond, the Mega Next Super Light 8K, the XR, the Flavor Dream MR. It seems like if you want micro OLED 2025, 2026 and pancake lenses, you're 9 times out of 10 gonna have some glare, my dude. It just seems to be where we are right now. Now I kind of wish people would realize this and stop acting shocked when these headsets come out and they have a little bit of glare, especially when these companies are putting billions to lose, like Meta, into R&D. And don't get me wrong, guys, I'm gonna say this again because I know a lot of you guys are comments. The Galaxy XR doesn't look terrible. It looks really good, better than a lot of headsets I've used. But having that color calibration, having just a few options to kind of navigate making your headset look better using software really helps. And it doesn't mean that Samsung can't catch up, but to cut a long story short, the Flavor Dream MR wins in terms of display and lenses to me. I personally feel like I just get less glare on the Flavor Dream MR, and let me know how you guys feel about that. I definitely want more opinions because I'm just a dude with a VR headset, like I say. But you guys also have both of these headsets, some of you, so let me know. And we're gonna circle back to field of view. So field of view is actually pretty interesting, and it's funny because I kind of enjoy both of these headsets viewing experience turn on FOV. I can get way more close to the lenses of the Flavor Dream MR though. So I feel like I get more out of viewing through the Play for Dream MR. I almost want to call it a draw, but just me being real, when I walk into a game, especially like Half-Life Alyx, and I'm looking at that wide view at the start of the game, I felt more moved by the Play for Dream MR's view. That wide view feels more real to me. So I'm gonna give the winner here to Play for Dream with a slight edge for field of view. Now that one's gonna be very debatable because some people may like the more rounded field of view. So take that W right there with a grain of salt or a bucket. I don't know. All right, so let's break down these controllers because both of these have some pros and some cons. So the Play for Dream MR controllers are USB-C rechargeable, which is very clutch. No wrist strap included, which I don't like. So you gotta buy a solution or 3D print something. And as you guys know, your boy doesn't have a 3D printer still. Donate. Now the knuckle design is really nice. They remind me of kind of like the Wii like knuckle remotes. And I kind of like that. The PFD controllers do have a better trigger and grip button feel to me personally. It just feels more premium, more clicky, and I like that. Also get a Play for Dream MR controllers a slight edge in terms of tracking in games, by a slight edge, and that's definitely improved over time, so I actually do appreciate that. And lastly, these are included in the box, man. Put them in the box, or just don't make them hard to get. Now, the Galaxy XR controllers are heavier, which I personally really like. I love a heavy controller. It just feels more real to me. It does have kind of like a PlayStation 1 design vibe that I kind of like. And the wrist strap is actually included, so thank God for that. Now, the controller does have some really fun haptics, but they are very kind of weak. They could definitely be stronger. It's more immersive. I like stronger haptics in my controllers personally. The tracking in game is okay, not amazing, but it definitely gets the job done. Played a little bit of Blade and Sorcery to see if the tracking could keep up, and it was okay. And the Galaxy XR buttons are more clicky to me. I love a good clicky kind of tactile premium feeling for my buttons when I click them. And another thing I didn't like is the fact that these aren't USB-C rechargeable, man. I'm tired of buying batteries. We're not going backwards here, but you guys make phones with batteries. So I think you could have put a battery in here that's USB-C rechargeable. And the last thing, and really is kind of not the deal breaker on my list, but you know, no controllers in the box, man. Once I give this back, I'm gonna have to do like the open space calibrator thing to make my headset work with controllers. And ironically, with all that yapping and stuff like that, I actually kind of tie these controllers. The pros and cons weigh themselves equally to me, like very equal. We have to get into tracking though, which is part of this section. So we don't know who the winner of this section is yet. In terms of tracking, both of these headsets track pretty well. But weirdly, Play for Dream MR tracks better in low light because back a few months ago, I used to actually have issues with low light tracking, so they definitely have been pushing those updates. The Galaxy XR actually needs a bit more light to work than I thought. I had two studio lights on, and the Galaxy XR was still giving me pops up about needing more light. So for this overall section, I'm actually gonna give it to the Play for Dream MR because even though the controllers are really tied to me, the tracking is just better in terms of lighting for the Play for Dream MR. Both really have good controllers with the build qualities and kind of weigh each other out in what they offer and don't offer. But yeah, I gotta give it to Play for Dream MR there because their headset tracking is just kind of better than the Galaxy XRs, at least right now. And mind you, it wasn't always that good. It has gotten better over time. That's what I actually appreciate about Play for Dream MR, is that it has progressively gotten better. And now we gotta talk about comfort. So the Galaxy XR weighs 544 grams. That's quite a bit lighter than the Play for Dream MR 650. So both of these use similar weight distribution, but that around 100-gram difference is not noticeable at all to me in long sessions. Now for comfort out of the box, the Galaxy XR is just way more comfortable, to be honest with you. All I did was swap out the front pad and I was pretty much good. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, Play for Dream MR still reigns to be one of the most uncomfortable VR headsets that I have ever used, especially when I first got it all the months ago. Obviously it's way better now after modding. They were just a lot of the issues with the Western face gaskets. I have no issues with the comfort now. Putting that Bobo strap really helped. Buying official accessories can be a bit pricey if you're in the US because of those good old tariffs, but you can also go around that with 3D printer or just some ingenuity. Me personally, I just did some redneck. Even for the Galaxy XR, I ended up buying a top strap mod kit from Tycho Tech 3D printing. That was like 20 bucks and used the old Global Cluster Quest Pro front pad. That was good, baby. While playing games though, you do have to deal with that cord and it's like, but it doesn't bother me too much. Just run it through the bag and you're literally fine. But the Play for Dream MR has no cord, so there's that. Haha. I'm gonna get us to the Galaxy XR in terms of comfort because it's just real cheap to fix. If you don't want to go through the 3D printing people, you can go through Studio Form. They also have top straps that are really good. I've used for the Pod Max and it was fine. If you don't have a top strap with either one of these headsets, it is a little bit harder to stay in that sweet spot because headsets do move around. But that problem can be fixed easily with both. So audio quality is actually a draw. It's really good on both. I literally have no problem with the spatial audio on either one of these headsets. And the mics are pretty decent. Both these mics do peak a little bit at full volume, but you literally can just adjust that in whatever app you use to record. If you're a content creator or if you're on PC, just literally turn it down. Both are really good enough that most people probably won't buy separate headphones, but your boy paid a lot for these Astro A50Xs. So I'm gonna keep using these because they are expensive. So it's a draw. And here comes the hardest part of this video, which is the ecosystem. And this is where software maturity kind of shines. Software maturity and potential. This is genuinely the hardest section of this review I had to do. So as we all know, Samsung Galaxy XR is the official Google standalone headset. It has full Google Play access. They denied it from Meta for years, which is funny. Access to every base Android app, Android XR apps, with more devs porting their games over to the Play Store in the future. It seamlessly connects to your Android device and is perfect for people in the ecosystem of Android. For content availability and seamless integration, it's unmatched by anything else out there in terms of Android. It's essentially the same as the Apple Vision Pro, but for Android users. This is for me. The Play for Dream MR though is Android based. It does use an Android OS and is completely open. You can sideload APKs through the Aurora store, customize everything, no bloatware, but you do miss Android XR apps and GMS dependent stuff like YouTube that has to connect to Google services. And with all that being said, we're not done. Let's sit back. Got a lot to talk about. Where the Play for Dream really swings here for kind of a third round knockout in terms of ecosystem is customization options, resolution adjustments, refresh rates, color profiles, sound EQ, the ability to upload your own background, and which I'm astonished the Galaxy XR doesn't have, set your own IPD manually. It even has a setting you can use for myopia, which is kind of crazy. And I keep saying, don't get me wrong, please understand me when I say I keep saying this for a reason. I understand that the Play for Dream MR has been around longer and it is supported. This is a very supported headset. A lot of people think, oh, it came from China, it's not gonna be supported. That's not true, my boy. This headset is very supported and I have seen it myself over the last few months. People in Discord be like, hey man, I kind of like this. You know, I wish we had this option. And then the next update or maybe the update afterward, they added. It's been supported. And I think it's gonna be supported for a while. But as we compare these two VR headsets today, the Galaxy XR is very behind in terms of customizations because it needs time to catch up. Now, I think in like 6 months to a year, we can have a better conversation when comparing these two headsets because Google has a lot of money. Samsung, well, both of them have a lot of money. Samsung has a lot of money, right? Google has a lot of money. There's a lot of R&D, there's a lot of things they can do to get the developers to create things and stuff that developers on their own, third-party developers are gonna make that's gonna help, you know, make the ecosystem better. It literally just needs time. But as it stands right now, I just like to Play for Dream MR's customization, especially being a PCVR first guy like myself. And now that customization isn't the end-all be-all because we still have more to talk about. Now for eye tracking and hand tracking, I'm not a full fan of the eye tracking for the XR yet. It's just very unpolished and a little inaccurate right now. I think the distance your eyes are away from the lenses don't really help much with getting accurate readings for your eyes. But for hand tracking, it's actually pretty nice. Not Quest 3 level, but it just lacks accuracy and just needs a few more updates. Maybe within like a year, maybe a year and a half, it can get to that Quest 3 level, or even the Apple Vision Pro level. I guess I've just been kind of spoiled by the Quest 3. It does allow individual finger movement tracking and pinch gestures, but you also need some really good lighting to get it to work. I'd rather just use the controllers, to be quite honest with you. Now, the eye tracking for the PlayStation MR is surprisingly good when I first tried it, but the hand tracking, I don't use it for much, honestly, after I got the headset, as it wasn't really that impressive to me. But it does get the job done, but it's not as good as the Galaxy XRs. One thing that the Galaxy XR does have, like we mentioned this before, is face tracking. This is good for your VR chat users. Not sure how it performs, but I remember seeing Sadly's Bradley tried it and he thought it was actually pretty useful. But sorry, I'm not a VR chat. In terms of pass-through, I'm also giving that to the Play for Dream MR. And that's only because of the customization options for different pass-through settings like hertz, choosing higher details and less latency. And I personally think they look damn near the same in terms of looks, especially with the base pass-through. But Play for Dream can definitely jump ahead just a bit with the customizations, especially with different lightings and stuff like that. Ironically, and to this day, the best VR pass-through I've ever seen is still the Quest 3S. But in both of these headsets, I can read my phone with no problem, and that's good enough for me. For app presentation though, I'm actually leaning towards the Galaxy XR. I actually like how clean the apps look in the background, even in the pass-through. I also like how the apps can resize and change different window shapes from like vertical to horizontal, or to the opposite, and the certain apps that do actually allow it, let you do it. The Play for Dream MR though does do the same as the Vision Pro and lets you actually see the content resize with the window, which I think is very dope. I personally just think that Samsung kind of just put more TLC into the visual experience, especially the UX, in terms of how they display content to you. Is it perfect? No. And I think it can be way better with some updates, because I've seen some things on the Vision Pro that I think I like. And even like the Quest 2 just got their big update to make things look more futuristic. But I think there's a lot of potential here with both of these headsets of making the Android OS just look better. We also had to bring up Gemini integration, which is AI, which has a lot of potential. Now, it doesn't do well in fast-paced games, but just looking around your room or web pages or YouTube, and you just want to find something out, is actually mad useful. Now, it's not in perfect condition or anything right now as it just came out, but I do like the prospect of having a dandy onboard AI that stores data locally. Hey, remember that part. Stores data locally. I love that. Sheesh. These AIs and the data storing nowadays is crazy. But the way it can assist you in research, games, etc. is actually really cool, and I think could be a big thing down the line. Now, it needs more time in the oven, but I see good things in about a year or two. The Galaxy XR also does not include a travel mode like the Play for Dream MR does. Now, I'm not mad at this one because it took Meta years to get one, but honestly, that's Meta. But I do think being a company that sold this as a device with no controllers, so it's not a gaming priority device. So obviously when people use this for travel, Google Maps, stuff like that, not adding a travel mode is interesting. To sum up this section right now and just kind of put a neat little bow on ecosystem, the Samsung Galaxy XR is the equivalent of Potential Man. Now, if you watch anime, you know who the potential men are in animes. If you watch Jujutsu Kaisen or JJK, you know Megami. Megami is Potential Man. Potential to be great, but he just sucks right now, right? So with that terrible explanation out the way, I know some of y'all are confused. With all the yapping being done, I have to get us to the Play for Dream MR right now in terms of ecosystem until the Galaxy XR eventually improves. I think this conversation is going to be really different in about 6 months to probably a year. Now, in terms of standalone games, the Galaxy XR takes this by a mile. Now this covers standalone games and standalone content. But Google Play and Android XR support, Galaxy XR will literally have way more standalone content available for you, even at launch, and definitely in about a year. You can even also connect a controller and play mobile games from the Google Play Store if you really wanted to. Play for Dream's standalone library is kind of bare bones right now because I mean people have to want to port games to the headset, but it is a PC VR machine first to me and foremost in my opinion. If standalone gaming matters only to you, Galaxy XR is really the only choice here out of these two. Now moving on to the section that I specialize in most, which is PC VR gaming experience. This is where the Play for Dream MR really shines. Now, both of these headsets have monster mode with virtual desktop, which gives damn near full resolution wirelessly that almost looks identical to wired headsets with a little compression in certain spots here and there. Now, Play for Dream MR has the better monster mode enabled because it actually had time to be developed, and the one for Galaxy XR isn't in full working condition. It does have some bugs and issues right now. The Play for Dream MR also has Steam Link 2.0, which includes dynamic foveated encoding, which reduces compression, artifacting, and latency to damn near non-existent. It is quite a sight to see a wireless PC VR headset get basically to wire PC VR level. And so all this comes down to the best wireless PC VR experience that I've ever had, hands down. I play literally all types of games on Steam Link 2.0, like flight sims, shooters, or really whatever I'm feeling. And I want to say this to you guys because I see the sentiment on Reddit and some of you read it. So for a lot of people, DisplayPort is the end all be all. I totally get it. I understand it. I was the same way. After experiencing Steam Link 2.0, with dynamic foveated encoding, I don't think this headset needs a DisplayPort. Now, I know most people are going to have the Wi-Fi, the router to kind of get that very low latency wireless PC VR. But I think honestly, if you can spend $2,000 on a VR headset, then you can spend some money on a router, imagine. Or maybe the area you live in just wants you to do it. Either way, I think you can figure out a way. But I'm being honest with you guys, this is the closest that I have ever seen a headset get to being a DisplayPort level headset. And I know some of you guys thinking, no, they didn't pay me to say that. Honestly, if I wanted to get paid, I would go to a different company. I'm not gonna say it. It is rough, I'm not gonna lie. Latency drops, weird glitches in the right eye for me in virtual desktop, med latency in the 50 milliseconds with a Wi-Fi 6 router. And I saw people on Reddit say, yeah, you can turn it down. But if I just paid $2,000 for a VR headset, do you think I want to turn down my resolution? No, I don't want to turn down my resolution. I got a 5090. I want to play things the full resolution. I am greedy, I am bougie like that. Especially with my graphics, man. So yes, you can turn it down. Maybe it definitely might help, but it's like, I didn't buy this $2,000 VR headset to turn down the resolution. And also Shiny Quagsire, which is a funny name to say out loud. Just saying. He made Steam Link 2.0 work on the Galaxy XR. Now it has some bugs here and there because it's not an official solution. The dynamic foveated encoding does work kinda. Like I think what they said is if you have the controller, then you can put it up or something like that, and it might work with the dynamic foveated encoding, something like that. You got to basically do some stuff to make it work, but it does work, and some people have been using it and enjoying it. I think it's the best solution right now. You have a very high resolution headset. Steam Link 2.0 is the default resolution. That's why I'm thinking that that's what I was about to get into Steam Frame, Valve Decker stuff, but point is, Steam Link 2.0 does work on here, but it's not an official solution. So take that with a grain of salt. But overall, I think some firmware updates, some software updates can really save the PCVR solution on the Galaxy XR with probably not much hassle. I think literally like 2 months, maybe 3. But as of right now, the Play for Dream still is the best PCVR device for wireless at this price. If PCVR is your main thing, your bread and butter, you got the specs to back up the high resolution, then yeah, Play for Dream MR wins. And I'm obligated by the laws of reviewing to mention the PCVR link that they shipped with this headset. It is not good. Apparently it's built off ALVR, but bro, I loaded it up. I looked at the quality and I immediately turned it off and went back to virtual desktop. It was so bad. So definitely some updates. I don't know if they shipped the old build. I don't know, man. It's so many like funky things with the headset that I'm just curious about. But like we said, it can be fixed. Oh, and if you're wondering about PC Link, it only works with Galaxy laptops. I didn't know there was a Galaxy laptops. That's actually the first I think I'm the first of my bloodline to hear about the Galaxy laptop. I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah, I legitimately did not know they existed in our realm. So yeah, there's that. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. So who wins here? Who is the winner of this great battle? And it is the Play for Dream MR. So Play for Dream MR score is 9 and the Galaxy XR score is 7. So I would really enjoy if some of you guys in the comments kind of did my same like sectioning and kind of give me your numbers too, because I would love to kind of get like an average of like my viewers like scores on this so I can kind of update it later. I definitely want to keep a tally because this is a very close fight and I feel like it's very opinionated. But I try to be as objective as possible with how I approach a lot of these things. As a PCVR user, I think that the Play for Dream MR is the better headset right now, but that could change in like a year. Who knows? I say personally, get the Galaxy XR if you want a Quest Pro upgrade on a standalone side, which includes standalone games, AI features, a very high potential ecosystem that I see growing very well with updates. I'm very excited about the future of just spatial computing for everyday use. I think the Galaxy XR is still the move. Now, I say get the Play for Dream MR if you want the absolute best wireless PCVR visuals that money can buy under $2,000. If you love the open Android ecosystem and just like customizing software to fit your needs, if you got a high-end PC, 40 series or better, and don't mind tinkering to get your favorite XR apps on there if you can, then it's awesome. For me as a PCVR first enthusiast, Play for Dream MR wins with a huge margin for now. It's just that micro OLED display with proper calibration and Steam Link 2.0 has completely changed how I experience wireless PCVR. But I totally get why most people will probably buy a Galaxy XR once the PCVR issues are fixed. Totally understand it. But me though, I'm definitely keeping both and using them for different things. I think as of right now, it's just different tools for different jobs for right now. All right, guys, that is the video. Let me know which headset do you want, the Play for Dream MR or the Samsung Galaxy XR? Let me know. This was a doozy to put together, especially having 2 kids. Oh my God. So if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you disagree with me on anything, let me know in the comments below. I know some of you guys will vehemently. I know. That's okay. That's okay. This is an open conversation. We know how you guys feel. I try to do my best to get you guys this as soon as possible with very limited time. But if I influence you to get any one of these headsets, I do have links in the description below. Help my boy out. I gotta pay off this headset. With that being said, it's more do VR, and remember, I'm just a dude, a lot of VR headsets.